BDS Marketing presents The Hype Hour with your hosts Andrew Catapano and Kelly Campbell, featuring special guests Mike Tizet and Erin Mills. Today's topic, connecting with customers in a socially distant world. Let's get started. Here are your hosts.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Hype Hour. Hi, Kelly. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Looks like episode 2, we had a little audio difficulties on the intro. Let's get somebody on that. Anyway, how are you doing in your quarantine? You are still behind. You're still in front of the shiplap. Love the white blue hat. We're going to talk about those in a second. But first, how are you doing, Kelly?
I'm good. We are excited for today's episode, excited to get some of our guests in here today. We have a great lineup. I'm so excited. I do still have the shiplap here. It's keeping me company. Thanks for bringing that up. Very excited to be here. How about you? Are you doing okay? You ready?
I am okay. Let's talk about the hats for a second because we've worn some hats and we've done it before. I want to talk about them for a second and why all our guests are wearing our hats today. So this one was actually sent in by a viewer, and I promised I would wear it on the next Hype Hour. And I'm going to do something in a second. I can't believe I'm going to do this in Buckeye country. But my wife and I actually had an argument about it last night, but I'll explain to you why. We're wearing the hats, and we're going to continue to wear the hats because the show was born of COVID. It was born of not being able to get our hair cut. And whether we have our hair cut or not, we're going to always remember our roots, and we're going to keep wearing the hats. So you'll see different hats each week. We're happy to wear hats if you send them in. But this one specifically was sent in, and hello to Angela. And Angela, I'm going to try something because my wife and I had a little bit of an argument last night. Wasn't why you think.
Oh, no.
Tempo. Okay, so tempo. My wife is from Overland Park. So Angela, this is for you. And I can't believe I'm going to do it in Buckeye country, but here, we're going to give it a shot. I decided to go with the slower tempo. Here we go.
Oh, no.
Rock, chalk, Jayhawk, KU. That's it. That's all I got. Angela, that is brilliant. For you. There you have it, in Buckeye country. So we're going to continue to wear the hats, though, born of COVID, and we're going to continue to do it. So, Kelly, tell us why we're here. Give us a little update. Give us a little summary for the new viewers of what the Hype Hour is about.
Yeah, well, for all of our newcomers, we're so excited to have you for this episode today, our second episode. This is a bi-weekly live streaming event where we discuss relevant topics, answer difficult questions, brainstorm some awesome creative concepts, and digital-first solutions for today's biggest retail challenges. So we're really excited today to go into some video first strategies that we have going on that create connection in a socially, physically distant world that we have going on right now. That includes some of the regional and global challenges that we're facing, the why behind digital transformation. We've heard this word a lot over the years, and now it's time to put it into play post-COVID. So we're excited to talk a little bit more about that with some of our local and global leaders. And then we're also going to introduce the Hype Hive. It's very exciting. This is a new hub of video first solutions from BDS, and talk through some strategies. So that's what we've got today, Andrew. Really excited.
Perfect timing because it's all 50 states do some sort of reopening today. This is our coming out party. Right? So this is our coming out party for the new digital video first strategies that BDS is happy to provide in this physically distant world. Well, Kelly, let's get right into the buzz.
Yeah.
So, listen, we know that there's regional and global challenges facing today our retailers. Gone are the days of whatever it takes retail, right? Someone comes into the store, someone enjoys your brand online, whatever it is, gone are those days, all right?
Yeah.
This is contactless retail, all right? So it's a time more than ever that we have to start to merge the physical and the digital. Even more than before, get more ambitious than you have been before.
Yeah.
And like you said, it is a time to introduce the Hype Hive, contactless, video-first strategies. They're going to keep that emotional engagement going. And I believe, I'm going to play a little something here because I believe for all of you out there, as we get into the buzz, Lauryn Hill has said it best.
Ready or not, here I come.
I think Andrew's ready for this.
My TikTok dance.
Find you and take it slowly. Ready or not.
Ready or not, all 50 states
That's awesome.
are open today. Ready or not, here we come. All right, listen, let's talk about different things that are happening right now, okay?
Yeah.
All 50 states have started easing coronavirus-related restrictions. There are no hard and fast rules. There's no retail playbook.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
no guidelines that everybody can listen to, okay? We saw tech giant Apple release on its website how it plans to safely reopen stores. We see Macy's is going to open all 775 stores over the next 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
You've seen McDonald's send out a 59-page document to its franchisees about how it plans to reopen and stay safe, okay? So what do? Do we just adopt the Los Angeles Police Department slogan and move on? Protect and serve? Is that all we're going to do?
Yeah.
Or are we going to engage? Are we going to connect with our customers? Are we going to get in front of this curve? And are we going to understand that study after study has told us that when customers are connected to a brand, when they are emotionally invested in the brand, when they feel that connection, when they feel aspirational, they buy more, they recommend more, and they become a brand evangelist.
Yeah.
How are we going to do it? Right? So, Kelly, I'd like to bring in our first guest in a minute. After you tell me, though, what the data says, right?
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about how it's going. But, I went on a little bit of a rant there, got on my soapbox. I'm going to throw it to you to help us out. What is the data telling us, and what does the research say?
Yeah, well, before we go into the data, I just want to talk a little bit about what to expect with this live stream before we dive into the story here. If you do that's okay. Yeah, before we jump in, I just want to remind everybody that you can go ahead and comment in the stream there. If you have a question along the way, we're going to be answering them at the end. And of course, if you do have to leave at any point in the stream, we will be following up with a recorded version of this. So no worries, you won't miss a thing. You can stay in the conversation and it'll be all okay. So so we're just going to talk a little bit about some of what the industry is telling us right now. Stats are great. We love to set up our story here with this. At the end of the day, it's all about connection. Andrew really teed it up great. Connection has overthrown content as the king with today's consumer. We are all craving connection, and people are spending more time on their smartphone. They're spending more time in front of digital media in the home. We know this, and we're seeing this in our industry. So at the end of the day, right, Andrew, everybody is craving connection, even myself, even you. We're excited to be here in front of you all, just because we want that in-person connection that we all of a sudden can't have as much of anymore. And then as it relates to retail, this is where when the retail industry comes alive again, we are craving that connection again. I even personally went to a retail store to pick up something, and it just wasn't the same experience, obviously. So we're trying to create connection and deliver that same level of experience, even if it's not the same as it was before.
What's funny is you said you were in the retailer. I was just back in the production room, and one of our production, the director of production was telling me he was at one of a large, we don't name drop on the shows, so unless you're a guest, but he was at one of the large home improvement places. Mm-hmm. And he had said they're literally doing almost comedy routines with people in line. They're joking with them. They're speaking with them. They're almost creating this show within a show because they know it's awkward. They're taking that time to connect with people because they know it's important. And it's memorable, right? He told me the story, right? As soon as he left, he's like, man, this is what happened. So go ahead. How do we keep that going? Because you're exactly right.
There's a lot of different ways. Obviously, we see social media as a great connection point with consumers. So that we're definitely going to talk about that today. And then also, people are just asking for brands to connect with them online. They want that connection point. So we're going to dive into a lot of that kind of stuff today as well. And then, of course, we want to make it comfortable. We don't want it to feel awkward like that moment. So that's great that even people are trying to do that, even with the retail experience as it is now. So very exciting to talk more about how we can make customers feel more comfortable with this sort of next normal experience, right? However, all these stats are great and can point us in the right direction, at the end of the day. And while they're super helpful, we know it's a lot harder to turn around a big shift, right? It's a lot easier to say it than to actually do it. So we do know that. But we want to talk through all the different touch that these consumers are having. You, me, we're all consumers at the end of the day, Andrew. So we all are seeing these different messages coming at us. And how do we sort through that? And then how do we turn to the right message at the right time when we need to make the right decision? So I think we're going to talk through a lot of that type of stuff today. Really excited to jump in and get started.
Awesome. And we got to come up with another word for new normal. As marketing people, we're hearing that all the time. So I hear Brazil in the news a lot. So we'll go with nueve normal today. Maybe we'll go that way.
Yeah, I think we're trying to figure out what the new normal is, or the next normal. So everybody's in the same boat, and coming up with strategies and solutions to really overcome and create our normal going forward. So excited to dive into a lot of that stuff today.
Well, with that, let's bring in our first guest, shall we, Kelly?
All right, sounds good. So our first guest is Mike Tizzet. We're so excited to have him. He's been a long-time client, I know, of yours, Andrew, and he's got a lot to say from a local perspective. As a retail owner of a 35-year-old retail chain, second-generation owner, it's really exciting to have him on board. So we definitely want to bring him in for his insights and talk to him a little bit more.
Mike Tizzet is a huge friend of mine. Here he is, and a fan of mine. I'm sure he's a fan of mine too. Always great to see Mike Tizzet, and have always been he's a horrible golfer, but love to have him and his insights. As Kelly has teed it up, and I will continue to tee that up, Mike, third generation retailer, has his finger on the pulse of Main Street USA. He is what I like to refer to as an American. Right? Because he is doing it. He is always hands-on. He is one of the most involved leaders I have ever come across. Always has something great to say. And Mike, we're going to get right into the buzz. All right. So I'm going to first of all, welcome. And I hope you're staying safe, and I hope your family is staying safe. OH.
There we go. I appreciate the rock chalk thing, but we can't forget about our roots. So thank you for the nice introduction, and I have had the distinct pleasure of working with you for way too long. So Thanks for having me.
Oh, you are more than welcome. Mike, we're going to get right into the buzz and ask the questions. Let's cut to the chase. What is your biggest challenge right now operating dozens of stores, hundreds of employees, thousands of customers? And I won't even get into the voice you have for the buying group and the collective stores that you give strategy to. What are your biggest challenges right now?
Well, the biggest challenge now, we've been open since the beginning as an essential service to our customers to provide the products they need to work from home and to provide products they need to cook and clean and keep those products working. We've been doing this from the beginning. And so the delicate balance of trying to maintain a safe environment for our employees to come to work in and be there for our customers when they need us and keep the business running. I mean, you mentioned we've been around for 35 years, and to keep the business running and keep making payroll every 2 weeks, I mean, that's a significant challenge for any business owner. So it's going to be, while everything's going to be open, I think it's going to be interesting to see how many people can open. And I think just staying alive is business's number one challenge right now.
Well, let's talk about it, Mike, because we talked about a little bit about it's open. We're open. All 50 states are doing some sort of soft launch. We've seen some of the retail rollout plans. What does the nueve normal look like for Mike Tizzet and his brand?
Well, I think the nueve normal, or the business as unusual, which is the term I like, so you can pick and choose, is different because we have to find a way to connect to customers in a different way. We started, before COVID in the beginning of March, the traffic in our stores was way down. The traffic at all retail was probably down. So we knew we had to be doing something, and we probably weren't doing it fast enough. And this just increased things at like 5 times the speed. So we have to find ways to connect with customers like we never have before. And luckily, being as close to our stores and our customers, and I have the amazing marketing director in Jess, we came out with a strategy even probably 3 weeks after this thing started to have our own home shopping network and to go live with our customers on Facebook and all of our 37 locations and from our corporate page. And we just did the second version of that last week, and it was fantastic. So we've had to find ways to do this super fast on the fly. And luckily we're small enough that we can be agile, and we've been able to just do stuff, and it's worked better than we thought it would, which has been super cool.
Mike, I'm gonna piggyback off that for a second, because I I like to think of myself as a moderately talented host, maybe not as to your level, but I believe we have a clip of you in the warehouse with one of your more recent Facebook posts that you are talking about. We're going to talk about that for a second. I think if we can kind of throw that up for a second and look at Mike in his warehouse just on the fly. Mike, tell us about what's going on here.
Yeah, so we went live in Home Shopping Network in lieu of our customer appreciation sales. Our customer appreciation sales we've done for years, where we have big events, we cook out, we do all kinds of stuff to connect with our customers. And obviously we can't do that. So we made them all virtual, and each of our stores were going live every 2 hours. And so we were infusing, Jess and our marketing director had requested we infuse our corporate page with these videos. And so this is one of the videos we recorded and did. And the response to this video was just incredible. So using the warehouse as a virtual store where we had all the product, and it's not the perfect lighting, and I could have been a lot more authentic. I could have been funnier. I could have been more charismatic. I think that was the direction you gave me, Andrew, that I could have done a lot better. I know that. But it worked. We got great results. If results are deemed by views or interactions or comments, which is I think how you view results in social media, what we got on this video was tremendous. And I think
Can we bring Kelly back in for a second? Because on that point, Kelly, I think you have some stats in this. So this is one of the first times, Mike, and we're going to coin this phrase in a second. We're going to talk about the Bright Shop, about turning, and full disclosure, we are going to work with Mike to see if we can elevate what he's doing. It was a fantastic thing that he started, and we're going to see if we can elevate that into kind of more of a well-lit, well-sounding. He did a fantastic job. But
not overproduced. We don't want to be overproduced, though, I don't think. We want to still try to remain authentic as we can, I think.
100% agree with you. 100%. Yeah. Kelly, with that authenticity that Mike had, tell us a little bit about what he got. He threw it up, got out there, did something, pivoted, and give us the details.
Pretty amazing. I mean, this video that you threw up, I know you've sent out a few more since then, but this one video alone of you doing your comparison shopping of the two different models or the two items there got, as of yesterday, 975 comments and 253 shares. That engagement rate is through the roof. So that's pretty amazing, combined with the loyal fan base that you have. I think that's just a testament of how powerful social media can be, right? To getting what you need out of the situation. So yeah, amazing.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome.
As you implement some of these more, what we're going to call brick and click or contactless types of marketing strategies, how do you think your customer is going to change? Like, what are they going to come to expect? Can you give us kind of a preview into your world of what behaviors you feel like have changed, what's here to stay, and what you're really going to have to adapt to? And I'm getting outside of the protect. We've already talked about retail opening, the protect and serve stuff. I'm talking about the innovative stuff. What do you think it's going to change for you? I
think they're going to want to connect with us the way they want to connect. So I think we're going to have to be flexible enough to connect with them via text. If they want to connect via text, we're going to have to be flexible enough to be better answering the phone. Our phones ring off the hook now, so we've had to do a better job of answering the phone and try to sell somebody who's just calling our store. But the video, I think, has such an instrumental role in how we're going to move this thing forward, because it's the one way for us to replicate the experience to our customers that aren't walking in our stores. So that's exciting on what we can do with it, but it's all the other avenues that we have to connect with our customer that I think are going to be just as important, because everybody wants to communicate the way they want to communicate. And we can't just do it our way anymore. And I think we're all going to have to be super flexible. And luckily, we're a small enough company that we can do ready, fire, aim, and do it again and do it again and do it again, because we're not going to get it right the first time.
And you do it well, Mike. I've seen you do it, and I don't want to continue to blow your head up. I think you take it well. You take it in stride, and I know you don't build an ego as a result of the things that least of all, I tell you. But I know you don't do it with anybody. But I just want to tell you how awesome it is to just watch you pivot this quickly, to watch you just fix the plane while it's in the air, drive on the street while you're paving it. I think it's very innovative and inspirational, and exactly why I want to have you on this show, so you can show people exactly what it could mean of just getting things started. So I think we talked a little bit about kind of the sneak peek of some of your ideas and what you might be exploring. You kind of walked into that a little bit, but is there anything else you want to tell us as far as what you're doing or for our audience? And more specifically, as we close this out, what is the thing you want them to know? What is the thing you want them to take away from Mike Tissett today?
Well, I think the most important thing is you just got to do something. I think sitting paralyzed by COVID is a mistake that a lot of retailers can make. And I've seen some of my friends, kind of get into that mode at times. So I think figuring out, you're not going to know all the answers. I think as business owners, we never know all the answers. We have to be decisive with the limited information we have, and that's all we're going to have. And you have to do something. And whether that something is being more incredible on social media, whether it's getting on YouTube, whether it's turning your warehouse into a studio, whether it's, figuring out how to do better answering of the darn phone. We have to just do something different. And you can't it's not going to be normal. It's not going to be nuevo, whatever, Brasilo that you said, but it's just going to be different. And if we wait for perfect information, you're going to be waiting too long.
Mike, something just hit me that I forgot to ask. And before you go, and I know we're running out of time, I want to ask you one more thing. We haven't talked about your operational communications. We've talked about customers, we've talked about, that kind of stuff, but you have hundreds of employees. I've been to your I've been to your yearly meeting. I've seen that huge room. I've seen the way in which you communicate, and you're a very hands-on, direct communicator. How is this changing, and how are you adapting to getting employee communications out in this time?
Well, we're lucky. We have created an internal communication tool with an internal Facebook page that we've used to communicate forever. And that is as robust as it's ever been. But we're using Zoom, and Facebook Connect and Google, some new Google thing, to communicate with to all our employees as much as we can. I had a managers meeting where I had 75 people on there having a managers meeting. We're doing sales training that way. So we're going to do things better. I mean, there's going to be things we did out of this internally and externally that we never had to do before, because things changed at 200 miles an hour, and we're going to do it better. And some of the stuff we're going to keep, and we're going to go back to some of the stuff we liked from pre-COVID. So without a doubt, it's going to give us new opportunities. And I think it's going to make us better at communicating. We've had to communicate more. That's for darn sure.
Well, Mike, stick around. We're introducing Erin Mills, who's on the show. She is going to be an unbelievable advocate, huge. She's lived most of her natural life, as far as experiential is concerned, and she's going to be able to provide a lot more insight about how we can communicate with our employees and how we can get this word out. I see Mike's off screen. Mike, I love you. I do. Thank you for coming. And I'll see you next time.
Mike will be back at the end of the show. We're going to answer some of those questions. If you have a question, put them in the chat and we will answer them, and we'll bring him back too. So if you do have a question for Mike, let us know.
All right, but listen, Kelly, you know what? Mike brought up something at the end of that, and I think is appropriate. Before we segue into the BDS Hype Hive and our 4 solutions that we can provide to help in this post-COVID world, he brought up an unbelievable point, right? Do something. Avoid paralysis. But I can already hear some of the cynics in the audience, in the viewership, and I can hear some of the people, even though I'm not going to hear them, long after this thing gets put in the cloud and people watch it after we're live. Andrew, that's okay. He's on a jet ski. I'm on a Titanic. All right. I can't move like he can. Right. That's cool that he can pivot, but he's got his team. I got a boardroom. Right. So not for me. Good guess, but boy, we're big. We can't move. We've got a lot more problems than he does in our process. And and when we have that, Kelly, we get the inability to make decisions, right? But then we have excuses for doing nothing. Well, do we have an answer for that, Kelly? I think we do.
Yeah, I think it's really good to get both perspectives, right? You know, the local, which we just heard from Mike on, and then also from someone who's seen more of a global perspective, more of that bigger challenge. And, you know, we talked about moving that ship, right? It is a lot harder to do that when you have a lot more pieces that you need to control of the big ship, right? So we do have a special message. We couldn't get him here today because I think, Andrew, you mentioned he's got one of those big meetings, right?
He was in the boardroom all day today and couldn't be here.
Exactly. So, however, we did connect with him the other day, which was really exciting. We had such a great conversation. It's William Jamie Jameson, the current global CIO of Primo Water Corporation and former SVP and CIO of GNC. So we got his perspective on the whole, on you know what he's seeing at a global level, and we have a short video to share with you about that to get what he's saying. So we'll roll it.
You think you can't do it? Watch this.
Yeah.
Hey, Andrew, thanks for having me. You know, a couple of things that I've learned in my career that I think not only are important in everyday life, but certainly right now. One of those would be that the desire to make decisions and be perfect is something that can stop decisions in general. You know, we have to make sure that when we're making decisions, we're concentrating on progress and not perfection. And that means that we're not always going to be right. So the fear of doing nothing should be your primary fear versus the fear of being wrong. We're going to be wrong. It's natural. When you're trying to make a customer experience, when you're trying to make something better than it is, it's very rare that you'd guess 100%. So I would say that one of the keys is worry more about doing nothing than about being wrong. Because at least with being wrong, you're going to prove a theory out. It may be that you have to learn something through it, but doing nothing, you know you're going to sit in the same spot. I think the other piece that is a natural element of change is this discomfort. And what I find a lot of times, and even with myself, is you're searching for comfort, right? We're all trying to make this change more comfortable. There is a level at which it's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be change. It's going to be something that's discomfort by its nature. And I think we have to be very close that we're not always trying to seek out comfort when we're going through and making a change that's different. Those are a couple of keys that for me certainly are very important, and I think now more than ever are very important in what we're going through with COVID and trying to really reimagine in business.
Could not have said it better myself. And Jamie, thank you for joining us. We're gonna have another clip from Jamie at the end of the show, but I think you couldn't have said it better. Do something. Don't be paralyzed, and your biggest fear should be not doing something, not doing it right. Couldn't have said it better myself. So, Kelly, with that, I think we need to introduce the things we are doing, right?
We're making progress.
The fresh approach we have, where our goal is simple: to help brands connect with their fans in a physically distant world.
Yep, exactly. So we're really excited, I think, to talk through some of these new hive solutions that we have. You can check us out online too. Go to the BDS website, go to thehive.com. You can actually check out some of these solutions after this live stream today. We're really excited about it. And to bring it all to life today, we actually have a special guest, Erin, who I will introduce in just a second. But I know this has been just such a great experience. Hey, Erin, we're so excited to have you on. Welcome. We're so excited.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Before we jump in, I just want to share a little bit about what your background is and why we have you on here. It's really exciting. So, as VP of Experiential, Erin, you lead the business development and campaign strategy for large-scale events and non-traditional marketing campaigns. And you're just one of our biggest experts in storytelling and memorable experiences and even connecting with consumers through events. So we just thought you were one of the best people to bring on for this experience. Super awesome.
Well, she's also one of the best people because she's famous. Erin, I have a surprise for you. Maybe a little bit of a blast from the past here, but I'm hoping our production team has this picture. Before you put it up, do not put it up early. Okay, get a good look at Miss Mills here. Okay. She's got the hat on and everything. But Miss Mills, and I could see her here, but I've seen her plenty of times in person. She has a striking resemblance to somebody famous. And so striking, in fact, that Miss Mills won a contest in her earlier years where she was flown out to stand next to and won a contest with this individual. Picture, please.
You got a bit of a sneak peek earlier, and now you get the full picture. There we go.
If you guys can zoom in on that and get a look, it is, if she had a brunette hair, that is indistinguishable. It's like it's photoshopped. Erin, tell us a little bit about the contest you won back in the college days, because that is amazing.
Wow. Well, first of all, where did you get that? Definitely a throwback. That was about 20 years ago. And it's actually kind of poignant because it was a contest. It was for the premiere of Charlie's Angels. So this was, a major, film backed by a major studio who ran an online contest. It was called Be an Angel Lookalike Contest. And 75 of us, poor souls, submitted our photo, and people crowdsourced it. People got to vote on who were the Charlie's Angels lookalikes. And I took the Drew. I won the Drew, and the prize was getting flown out to Hollywood. We got to attend the premiere of Charlie's Angels and got to meet Drew. So
amazing.
It was pretty incredible.
Fantastic. I love that picture. All right, we can take it away from her now. I don't want to continue to embarrass Miss Mills, but we could take that away. All right, let's get right into it. The Hive coming out party for BDS marketing, 4 uniquely curated solutions where it's time for a fresh approach, 4 innovative solutions, endless possibilities.
Yeah.
Story streams, Tappa Tech, Brand Fluencer, and Bright Shops. We're going to get right into the buzz on the first one. Live streaming.
Yeah. So excited
right now.
This one. Very, very excited. This first one is called Story Streams. We're just going to go through it at a very high level because we want to have a talk with you, Erin, about your experience. Live streaming isn't something that's new. Video has been around for a really long time, right? And your team has done this the best probably out of everybody that we have seen. So my first question for you, and Andrew, feel free to jump in on this one too. I know your teams have used video for years. What are the key components to producing a great video that you have seen, whether it's live or not?
Yeah, certainly. Well, the first one you already mentioned, which is story. So really important to make sure that going into a live stream, you have a sense of the story that you wish to tell. And I think a lot of times, to Mike and Jamie's earlier point, brands are really trepidatious. They're not really sure what story they're going to be able to tell. And they can, of course, talk about their products, but how do they add context? How do they add, gravity, stickiness? And a lot of times you don't have to always have all original content. You can curate content through experts like we're doing now on the show. And so that's something to remember when you go to a live stream, that you don't have to bear the burden of original content, right? Your story can be made up of many other people's stories. The next would be audience understanding and what you want to elicit from that audience. So we like to think of it as the audience should feel something. That feeling should inspire them to do something. And then it should also inspire them to share something. And the question is, how do you want the content shared? Do you want them to share out what you're creating, or do you want them to co-create the content with you? And if you look at social media, for example, you look at something like the Ice Bucket Challenge, that's a great example of a message proliferating through individual content that's created, right? So that is a core message that can then travel through new content creation, and the virality associated with something like that is really, really strong. And then the last component from a live stream perspective is understanding, especially in the current climate, how do you add atmosphere to a live stream? How do you add atmosphere to any video that you're putting out into the world? And what do I mean by atmosphere? The idea is that right now, anyone who's watching us, Kelly, is probably tuning in let's hope, but they're probably tuning out a bit too. They might be looking us up on LinkedIn. Who are these people? Are they credible? They might be chatting, hopefully asking us questions. They might have a second screen experience happening. It happens all the time at home. My son will watch Ghostbusters. He'll be in his costume. I'll be on IMDb being like, how old is Sigourney Weaver? She looks amazing. Where, you know, and he'll be playing with toys that emulate Ghostbusters. So that second screen experience, you know, is really important. And it happens a lot in live. And to kind of add, you know, a little bit of example, Andrew nodded to the hats that we're all wearing today. I'm wearing a Black Keys hat. The Black Keys are one of my favorite bands of all time. So the first person to comment in our chat with their favorite Black Keys song is going to get an Amazon gift card.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Very cool.
Erin, as you're leading experiential, and we're going to talk about, you know, and I've got my new whiteboard up here for anything that's buzzworthy. We're going to put, you know, the first one in, and I've got horrible handwriting. Story streams. I know we're all working from home, but I need the viewers to understand there are 3 studios throughout the country. I am sitting in one of them in Columbus, Ohio. Beautiful, OHIO. There will be one in New York, New York. When my friends born of New York, when they open up and they figure it out, we will have a studio in New York. We will also have one in Irvine, California. So we're going to, you can do this. We can do this for you and for your brand. Like Erin had talked about, custom built environments. I mean, her boss literally wrote the book on guerrilla marketing strategies. She's literally been living, breathing, eating environments and experiences her natural adult life. Who better to team up with than the digital and the experiential to produce this type of content for you and your brand? Kelly, can you talk about some of the live streaming possibilities and ideas that we've got?
Yeah, there are endless possibilities from a consumer perspective to an associate perspective, B2C, B2B. There's endless possibilities with streaming live. And it does come down to telling the right story for the right audience. So you can do all sorts of live trainings with your associates at a store. You can also talk to your consumers directly through a live stream, just like we're doing here with you all today, through a
virtual
chat.
Product launches.
Yeah, exactly. You can do
demos.
Yeah.
Erin, some of your ideas for live streaming too.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, the fact of the matter is that you can infuse the physical into the digital, you know, by having, you know, accompanying activities. So, you know, for example, you could send viewing kits out in advance of your live streams with recipe cards, make your own cocktails, join the party. There's a host of things you can do to really add that physical element that people crave right now.
Yeah.
100% agree with you. How was my TikTok dance in the beginning? Was that snackable, shareable, maybe viral? No? I don't know. I'm going to keep working on it.
You know what it was? It's what Mike said. You took a risk. So
here it is.
It was quite a risk there. Yeah.
Story streams.
Yeah.
By BDS. Anything more on this topic, Kelly? This is one of my favorites. Not my favorite one. You know my favorite one of the 4. But I love this one because who gave Andrew a live show? I'll tell you that. I don't know who greenlit that, but that I'm thankful that the people who signed my paycheck had more faith in me than my mother. She said, "Don't do it," but here we are. Anything more on the story streams, Kelly, before we jump into the next solution?
Yeah, and I think it's just, it all comes down to creating that conversation, that connection, and then making it snackable. I know Erin mentioned this a little bit, you know, how do we make it fun too? We're giving away a gift card now. That's so exciting. So how do you create that connection and make it memorable all at the same time? Those are some of the key elements to story streams for sure.
Yep. Awesome. And now we can move on to solution number 2, which should arguably be one of my favorites. And unfortunately, we were not able to have Sean back with us today. He's our thoughts are with you. He's dealing with some different things with his family and couldn't make it today. Love you, Sean. Miss you, and we'll see you on the next episode. But I'm going to take this one for now because at the end of the day, this is one close to my heart. Born of digital, born of web-based human interaction, without downloading an app, ease of use. Let's talk about Tappa. So I'm going to write it on my buzzworthy board. But
You got to
I'm
make
going
a
to
note of that on your board, Andrew. We're on to the next one. Very excited.
Tappa Tech.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give a quick summary of what Tappa Tech is and what BDS is able to offer our customers. Video-powered sales assistants that creates conversations directly from a PDP page. What is a PDP page? Product display page. It's a digital jargon for the landing page on an e-commerce website of a specific product.
That's why you're here, Andrew. You're the digital guy.
That's right. That's exactly right. So that's what they tell me. I don't know. But what Tappa Tech is, in a nutshell, is the ability to immediately make a video connection with a VSR, a virtual service rep, directly through the website without downloading an app and an immediate human connection. I believe it is one of the more innovative solutions that we're offering in our 4-solution bundle here, but in the Hive. But to me, the ability to immediately, and I think, Erin, I'm going to put you on the spot with your story of what you've got going on in that house right now, but we're going to get to you in a second, so I'm teeing that up. I think you know what I'm talking about. But Erin's got a real-life situation of when this would have worked. But think about the ability, when we talk about physical connecting with digital and digital connecting with physical and bridging that gap, right? All these new social distancing rules, all the limitations in the store, in the retail environment, all the protect and serve protocols. Well, I mean, this is it, right? This is it. This is your store experience right now, okay? This is your video experience, okay? So, Erin, tell us a little bit about your experience and why you still have all that stuff lying around your home, because your retailers don't have Tappa Tech yet, but tell us why you are struggling right now.
There's so many ways that we're struggling with 3 children under 5 at home. But one of the ways I think supremely struggling that's relevant to this conversation is the fact that about 7 weeks ago, our clothes dryer, it bit the dust. It kaput. It just completely went out. So here we are doing probably 3 loads of laundry a day, Little House on the Prairie style. We're putting it everywhere, the laundry to dry it out. And of course, I'm in northern New Jersey where it hasn't been very balmy. So, and we really need to get a new dryer. It's a daunting task. My husband and I, we're what we like to call ourselves like professional consumers. We love shopping. We love the art of going into a brick and mortar, talking to someone who's really reputable and understands the brand. We love it. We're the people that go to Mexico and come back with the timeshare and everything else that
Of course.
So here we are, and can't even begin to start wading through online options, knowing what to do. And if we had the ability to do something very similar to what Mike shared, where we could go into a warehouse, we could speak to someone really knowledgeable who can take us through a variety of assets live and in real time, and have a quick conversation with us, sold. We would not be airing our laundry, so to speak, throughout the house.
We're not going to get the look that we got yesterday.
No, you're not. Yesterday during
it's guys, it's real. This is the real deal of what's going on around her. There are clothes everywhere. But so from the point of, and we saw Mike do his Facebook earlier, but Tappa Tech represents the ability to do that. We have associates throughout the country that can be easily converted into VSRs. We have networks of evangelists, even on the mag side, and experiential, where we literally can tap into people whose whole experience, whose whole lifestyle has been about generating an experience. Is, get in front of the camera, and in one click, directly from the website, we can be helping Erin make that decision. Right? We can be helping Erin navigate all those endless choices. Well, how big is the cubic feet? How loud is it? How big is it? Will it fit? All those questions can be answered. And we know, I believe we've got some data here that says people are 30 to 40% more likely to complete the point of sale transaction over traditional chat, which is under 5%.
Wow.
So if you're to get a video-based technology and a VSR on your website, you have a 30 to 40% more chance of converting that customer than over traditional chat, right? So I love this. We're doing some pretty unique ideas with some clients that I can't tell you about right now. I know that Erin and her team are working on, but this is going to be forward thinking, and it is going to be today, right? I love this. Ellie, anything you want to add on that?
No, I think that's all great. It's just amazing that the results that you can see with something like that is pretty unbelievable. Obviously, that just goes back to, show that we all are craving that in-person connection, whether it's over video or actually in person. It does have value at the end of the day. So that just proves it right there.
We're going to get into a second. We're going to keep this kind of, we're going to keep the flow going of do something. These are solutions. Why do we do this show? We do this show because we want to just tell you not about, hey, where's the strategy, right? We can Google, we have that. But this is the real world of saying, how can we do it? Andrew, Kelly, and Erin, what can we do today? Get out of decision paralysis. Get out of the boardroom. Let's make some decisions and let's help you, right? These are real things.
Exactly. I think we lost Andrew for just a quick second. His video froze a little bit.
Are we back?
I think we're back. You're back, Andrew. Technology, right?
Technology. All right. I don't know where that led off, but my end statement was, again, back to my beautiful friends at the LAPD. We are not here just to protect and serve. We are here to inspire. We are here to engage, and we're here to emotionally connect with our customers. And we're just here to give you those real solutions in order to do that, right? To make decisions today. Story streams today. Let's get your brand in front of a camera today. Let's give your customers the connections they want. Tappa Tech, let's get VSRs on your landing pages, on your PDP pages, talking about your products, the brands that you have. If you're a retailer that sells multiple brands, let's get text talking on your website right now. This is ready to go. And I love these ideas. And I don't want to sound like a salesperson. That's not the point of this. But my point is do something. Okay? All right.
Yeah. So let's move to our next one, right, Andrew? We've got two that we need to go through. So we've got some exciting ones coming up. Our next one is brandfluencers. This one I'm personally passionate about this because I think I like to be a brandfluencer. But this one's really exciting. So Andrew, do you want to give us a little spiel about, what it is and the power of it? And then we can talk with Erin a little bit more about how this works.
This actually is my favorite.
So it's everybody's favorite.
This is my favorite one too. Why? Because we have devices at the ready. We've got people more than ever willing to get out there and be authentic. And we've got some sort of fatigue that's happening too, right? Disingenuous communication. We're inundated with COVID and brands telling us we're going to be safe or not safe or whatever. But we just want authenticity. We want to get back to connecting with the brands that we know and love. And who better to help us connect with the brands we know and love than real people? Okay? Yeah. You've come to trust BDS on the experiential side. You've come to trust BDS on the in-store selling side. It's only natural to evolve those connections into this world, right? And it's only natural to allow those people to be authentic brand evangelists in social. And that's what brandfluencers is. Brandfluencers is taking nano or micro influence. We're not talking celebrities. You guys can go do that on your own. We're talking about real people who want to shoot TikTok videos, YouTube videos, Facebook posts, Instagram posts, about your brand, about your products and services, pay to play, get it produced out there, and we're going to use our people, our army of brand evangelists to get that done. And quite frankly, Erin, this is your world. This is you bringing in person, just changing the media, but the actuality of it stays the same. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. And it's interesting because when we hire for live events, right, the criteria is it's about passion, it's about connection, it's about delivery. And we've seen this evolution of talk tracks. Brands used to give us their talking points when we would engage on behalf of a brand, and it was speeds and feeds, and it was output based. And we saw a really massive shift over the last 3 years to use case driven talk tracks. We would actually have, we've been working with brands. They let us ingest their messages and put them out through our ambassadors in their own words and in their own use cases. And so that's the exact same thing we're doing here on, as you mentioned, a micro or a nano level. And we have thousands upon thousands of trained ambassadors in variety of verticals, right? So it's about figuring out what that vertical is. If it's me as a consumer, right? I'm interested in parents, people who are sharenting, right? Who are giving out parenting advice and talking about products that are meaningful to them. There's no vertical that we can't represent in that way. And it's just wonderful because the skill set that applies to live experience agents applies in a similar fashion to anyone who's going to be engaging virtually. Yeah.
Kelly, I know this is close to your heart. Give me the 5 steps. And Kelly, I know you've personally developed this. So give me the 5 easy steps. I want to get involved in Brandfluencer Day. I'm a brand. I want authenticity, and I want people to start pumping out content about my brand via social. What are the 5 steps I take?
Well, it's really easy. You want to pick your goal, right? You want to figure out what you want to do. It could be engagement, it could be awareness, it could be really anything that you are trying to achieve with your brand. And then we'll talk through what that looks like, what kind of activities those are. And we'll pick some of the activities that align right with your goals. And then at the end of the day, we have a pool of people that are experts. We have, if it's baking, we have baking experts. We have people that, I think the amazing thing about BDS is that our group of employees and people that have worked with our brand for so many years do a lot of great things on the side too. So we want to tap into those expertise, that experience that everybody has, and pull the right people with the right expertise that maybe can help bring your brand to life in a very personal way. So that's another aspect of this process. And then identifying the right things that we'll track as part of those goals, making sure that your program is, the most unique it can be. There's a couple of other steps, and, we'll probably go through those in a much later date, but yeah, it's, I think at the end of the day, it's picking the right goal, the right people, the right setting too, the right channel, and then making it the most effective it can be with the right KPIs. So
absolutely well said.
Yeah.
And we're going to do deeper dives into each of these. All you got to do is pick the category. You pick the goal. We choose the experts. We staff them. We pick the channels, and then we show the outcomes. I mean, you could be pumping out content. I saw yesterday, and we're going to get into the last one, which is Anchor. Charlie D'Amelio is the resident TikTok expert. Some of you may know her. Okay. 15 years old, $48,000 per TikTok post. That is what brands are paying right now. You will not pay that at BDS. I promise you that. We do not have Charlie on our payroll, but that is the type of influence that can happen. $48,000 per post, with her taking off holidays, no vacations for Charlie. That's a rough $16 million per year for that young 15-year-old.
Yeah.
I picked the wrong thing.
Yeah, on our end, we're looking more at the nano influencer, the micro influencer level. So these people have those really personal connections. And what we've seen is that the engagement rate is much more quality. It's much higher too, because they're getting that personal recommendation from someone that they actually know. So, while celebrities are great to get certain messages out there, they do cost a lot of money, and we're not really trying to do that. We're trying to use real people, because we have known over the 35 years that we've been in business that people buy from people they trust. So at the end of the day, that's what we're putting out there, and it's on social. It's just not in person, it's on social. So very excited.
Return on investment for the budget. Please, if you have not heard of our Brandfluencer yet, I would absolutely get involved in that. Let's talk about the anchor. Let's talk about Bright Shops. Bright Shops is close to my heart, and it is the anchor of our hive. So we've got Story Streams, Tappa Tech, Brandfluencers, and Bright Shops. Okay. All right. Mom, sorry, the penmanship got no better as I got older. All right. Bright shops. What are bright shops? Bright shops are, sorry, let me just quiet this. Bright shops are a digital only retail environment.
Yep.
Okay. You can see what we're doing right now. We got the lights controlled. We got the sound controlled. We've got everything controlled in this environment. Imagine this in a retail setting with no customers. My displays look perfect. My product looks perfect. My cameras look perfect. I can even go camera 2. Hi, my emotional camera. It's where I get close to my audience and I show something. Okay? So there's a lot of different fun that we can have in terms of a bright shop, which, Erin, I know we're running out of time, but this is your world, right? So creating a store environment, your world truly meeting my world, right? And I'm going to say you and I, because you're born of experiential, I'm born of digital, but this is where we can take this and put it in a real store environment. And we're doing some of that right now. I know you can't share the brands, but you're mocking up some pretty cool stuff where you're laying out the entire store and it is digital only. Lights, cameras, action, right?
It's super cool stuff, let me tell you. And it's so interesting because the last 18 months of live marketing have been based on what's my grammable moment. Brands coming to us, retailers coming to us. How do I transform my retail space into a share-worthy environment? And now we are literally doing that to meet audience demand. They want the physicality, but they're not ready to be in store. And they will be eventually, but this is a wonderful way to get them comfortable with in-store, everything they could expect in store. And the same design principles apply, right? Moving into that more that more visual merchandising, right? That more experience-based merchandising. That's what we're doing with this model. It's a veritable, as you mentioned, retail studio with all the forms and functions of a retail space. Pretty cool.
Yeah. I love it. And Kelly, I'm going to ask your opinion on it too, but it is selling product 24/7. This one to me is and I'm not, I'm ambitious maybe in my other life, but I have the privilege of working for brands. I am not a brand. I am not a retailer. But if I was designing my own virtual in-store experience, I would be busting through a boardroom right now and saying, do this today. Okay? Because even if the summer is upon us, even if we can't do this now, holiday is a coming. And I'm telling you, there is an environment where this is not going anywhere. And if you do not have what we're terming as a bright shop, which is a digital only retail environment, experiential behind you, digital in front of you, my personal biased opinion is you are behind the curve, not in front of it. Kelly, your take on the bright shop.
Yeah, I think it really combines together all of these different solutions that we have come up with, that we are working towards collectively. And it's sort of the culmination of all of them together, right? You've got, as Erin said, the visual, you've got the social side of things, you've got that power, you've got the one-on-one video connection that we all can have, the video chat with Tappa. So there's just a lot of great tools as part of this, like Erin said, to get everybody accustomed and back into feeling comfortable with that connection in this next normal, right? That contactless shopping and still making it feel like you're shopping. So I think it's great. We're really excited about this one for sure and seeing it come to life.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Erin. I know we are running out of time and we will wrap this up. I promise you we will try to end as close to 3:30. I think we're right there. But the Hype Hive by BDS, 4 unique solutions, endless possibilities, all digitally transformative, all designed to get you ahead of the curve, and all video powered, but experiential backed. And I think if we're going to be in this nueve normal, and we are going to get ahead of it and do something today, let's go ahead and bring Mike back in to say goodbye. I've got one more thing I'm going to play at the end because I got one more comment, but I want Mike to be able to say goodbye. I want to wish my friend Mike a happy Memorial Day. And I will tell you, Mike, any parting comments, as I know you're backstage listening to the rest of the show? Is there any closing remarks?
I just can't understand why I didn't get anything on the board as a buzzword, but we can talk about that later. That's it. That's really all I got.
We will talk about that later. So before we close, Mike, thank you for having us. Keep doing the innovation that you are doing. I know we are actually going to implement a lot of these with you, Mike. So I'm really excited to work through a lot of that stuff. And we will be doing deeper dives into a lot of these solutions. They'll be posted to our social media. They'll be posted to our Hive landing page. And we'll be able to do a deeper dive in a lot of these. We will be back in 2 weeks. Is that correct, Kelly?
Yeah. And before we all hop off, and I know we have everybody here, and before we talk about 2 weeks later, we do have a few questions that we got from our audience members. So super excited. I'm not going to go through all of them. Just going to handpick one that really stood out to me right now is Andrew, can we see some more TikTok videos from you? Just what we need.
You cannot see some more TikTok videos, but what I will play you, Kelly, is my last video outro for the snippet that we got from Jamie, because I do think this is powerful. And Mike, you spoke about this a little bit too, about not only paralysis, which we talked about, but we talked about, so I got all these things we got to think about, right? All these solutions, let's get in the boardroom and let's make a decision. No, get out of the boardroom and get in front of your customer, okay? They have the ultimate vote. And Jamie actually said it best. So I'd like to close with what Jamie had said. And before we do, and we'll do the outro after that, happy Memorial Day, everybody. And please remember, Memorial Day is a time where we remember people who sacrificed so much for us, right? And I know that a lot of us are going through personal sacrifice as well. Keep that sacrifice going. It is working, okay? And let's remember all of those who sacrificed so much for us to let us be Americans, and let's be that, all right?
Awesome.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Kelly. And Jamie, why don't you take us out with how we should get our customers' vote? Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, get out of the boardroom and get in front of your customer. It's something that's sometimes lost. You're working with your team, your peers, your partners. You're so focused on your strategy, your execution, your imperatives, whatever it is. You forget that the customer has the ultimate vote. We're all customers when we leave our jobs. We all know what good customer service looks like, good products look like, good services look like. So one of the keys is to get out of the boardroom, get in front of your customer, because remember, they have the ultimate vote. And it's a way to keep you grounded in your strategy.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you in 2 weeks, right, Kelly?
Yeah. We'll be back in a couple of weeks with our next topic. Stay tuned for more on that. Really excited to be back here, and we have a great Memorial weekend. We're so excited.
Still love the shiplap, Kelly. And I miss you terribly.